letting everybody know how we sort of got together and started writing songs together. I think that's quite a good little story as well, don't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you tend to be much better at the detail of this than me. A lot of my memory kind of, I mean...
So I remember we went to a friend's party. Do you remember that?
I'm going to wind back a bit. Right,
You're going to go back, because was it before that?
No, I'm going to wind back as to why, when we met, then we started writing together.
Yeah.
Because I'd been a musician for years. I'd been in a band for years, and when I started writing songs when I was 13, and then I was in a band that was doing quite well, and we, I think that was when I had young children, and I stopped. And for those years while my children were young, I didn't do anything with music, and then
a whole of our dad life.
Yeah, basically. And that's the case for me. Unless it's your full-time income, it tends to take a back seat.
Yeah, of course.
And then my friend who I used to be in a band with said to me one New Year's Eve. He said, "I've got a New Year's resolution. Because he hadn't done anything for years either. He said, I'm going to write and record an album this year." And I walked away from that and I thought, what a great little project. And I dug out my acoustic guitar, which I've never really played because I'm more of a keyboard player than a guitarist. And I started writing songs. And I'd been writing for a while, and then, while that was happening...
Yeah, we went to a friend's party, didn't we? Do you remember Libby and Paul's?
It was them, was it? Right.
Yeah, you know, it was that.
So we didn't know each other at that point?
No, we sort of didn't know, but we sort of seen each other.
in the same circle.
Yeah, we was in the same circle, but didn't really know each other. But so we went to this party, and then I remember them getting on because they was quite musical, weren't they? The family, and I'm sure the brother or the sister.
I see, that's a vague memory. I don't...
Yeah, well, what it was, we was actually standing on the edge, and I remember Libby's sister playing with a fella on the keyboard.
Wow, that's...
They remember that. No, this, well, they was playing the keyboard, and then someone started to sing sort of bits, and then I sort of got carried away with it a little bit. I never knew I could sing properly, did I? And then I started to throw a few things in, and then, I'm sure you went to me like we'd have to get together sometime. That was the first time we sort of connected, because the music sort of connected us a little bit. And then obviously with our families and our children, we all decided to go glamping, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that, I think this is where it really started. Pete's family and my family and a few other families went glamping, which is, you know what it is. It's like
middle class camping.
Middle class camping. So it's so we've gone there, and you know, and our boys were young then, weren't they?
Yeah.
And our boys went to the same school, and that's how we all sort of met each other. And we used to go out at Christmas and have a Christmas dinner together. And Pete was like just such fun.
I just
we connected, didn't we?
We did, but my memory of that glamping. There's a number of things I remember, but one of them is Bray,
in the chicken,
Tony's son, who just found these two chickens and picked them up, and then for some reason they just seemed to be content that this is where they were going to live now, under his arms.
Yeah.
And then whenever we'd be chatting and you look in the background and you see Bray walking along, still holding the two
chickens. It's
what did
he named
one of them was called Fat Elvis, wasn't it? Or
something like that. Yeah, he had some. He named them. But I remember when we got there as well. I think we was there for a couple of nights, weren't we? Staying in the tent things, and I think he'd ruined all his clothes because he was getting in the chicken coop with them. So like he'd been in the chicken coop. Anyway, it was Peter. One of the nights there was like a pizza night when all the kids could put their own toppings on the pizza.
Yeah,
and
cooked outside.
Beautiful big fire there. It was really lovely, wasn't it?
It was lovely.
And it was on like a farm, a working farm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And anyway, it was a really, really, really brilliant weekend. And we had a fire on that Wednesday night. It was going to be the pizza night.
Yeah.
Me and Pete thought, Pete had a song called "Take Me Away," which is a brilliant song. Maybe we should do something with that song and show especially our patrons.
Right.
We should show them maybe that song.
Yeah.
But Pete had written this song and hadn't finished it, had you?
No.
So we said, why don't we? Well, we've never done anything together.
So this was just kind of in the afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, just in the afternoon. We thought
we had time. There was nothing we needed to do.
Exactly. It was just we was at one with nature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we just sat
out
there.
Came the guitar.
Yeah. So we went into Mar's glamping tent, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we sat there with the guitar and we started to write the song out.
Yeah.
And then we was we decided that we'd sing it to all the families. I think there was 10 families there. We'd sing it round the fire at pizza night. I'm thinking, what are we doing? We wasn't. I mean, you wasn't even that.
No,
wasn't brilliant on the guitar.
I'm
never
not
sung.
guitarist, as I think I mentioned earlier. I mean, I'm a bit better now, but that's
just,
not my first
but just
instrument.
unreal, and it was like, take me away from here.
Yeah, well,
it was a really nice,
bouncy song.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we done it.
In front of everybody.
And it went down well, didn't it? And everyone clapped us, and well, I think they just clapped it just to be polite.
Stop us.
Yeah.
If we clap, will you stop?
But I thought, and that's really where we was sort of born, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what then when after that then you started to share some of the poetry that you'd written.
Yeah.
And then but at that time
you said to me, didn't you?
I was creating the melodies.
Yeah.
You were singing them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until you came up with this. I think we sat and recorded wrote Devil's Mist.
Yeah.
And I started to realise that you could pen a melody.
Yeah.
A, much more suited to your voice, and B, if I'm honest, much better than the melodies that I was coming up with. And so that kind of realisation changed the direction
That makes me feel awkward.
about music. But you've got to do what you're good at.
Yeah.
And the one thing we know, there's 2 of us in this band. That's not a band. And the one thing we know is you bring people in that are good at what they do. You do what you do, and you get other people to do what they're good at, and then the result makes you look really good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, we bring Ed in and Michelle and Mike or Ross on drums, and the brass section from the Specials. If you guys know the Specials,
incredible. And for
these people are talented musicians.
Yeah, and for Peter, the way we've, especially me, I was so raw when I've never done anything.
Yeah, you've not been in the studio.
So to go into a studio and be taught what to do, and then now it just becomes, it's like second nature now, isn't it? We go in there and we know exactly what we're doing, which is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, is it called Dunning-Kruger? We now think we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we now think what we're doing. But
that's a dangerous
for me, I've
place
learned
to be.
loads off of Pete, and I've learned loads off of Ed, how to, even in my songwriting, to come up with pre-choruses, chorus.
Well, this is the thing. I remember Stephen Fry saying about that people think that poetry is this thing that comes from somewhere in the universe and gets channeled through you and just kind of almost like it just falls out. And it's not. It's a science. If you think about the agonising work it takes to put words together that not only mean something but that have rhythm and sound good and rhyme and all those things, that cannot just happen by accident. There is you have a system behind it. So it's a lie to say that creativity just happens. The spark of creativity just happens, and then you have a lot of work going in to make that something that's pleasant for everybody.
Yeah, when you know that I can sit there and go.
Yeah, your melodies will fall out.
Yeah, but I can go like.
If I picked up the guitar now, you'd write a song to the chords I play.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's just like that. It's a gift, mate. It really is. But anyway, so
once that melody comes, then obviously the science comes behind that melody. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to I don't know, like Superman, there's a basic beautiful melody there, and then there's or Game Changer,
and then there's
that makes that a full band, and that's not an accident. The horn section don't guess what to do.
No,
you kind of write the line for the horn section to play.
Yeah, but and we have got such talented musicians that we use, and they can literally, we can give them the song, because me and Pete would actually write the whole song. Like, even Ed said we could sit down for a week, and we would write 2 albums.
Definitely.
And have really catchy
It's
songs.
only ever time that stops us.
Yeah. And then these people actually come in and offer them melodies and offer that song, create the horn section line. It's just because they're so talented, aren't they, Pete? They can just put that horn section in, can't they?
Yeah.
And write their own line for it. I mean, look on Real Love.
Yeah, well, that was Ed, wasn't it?
That's Ed. That's incredible for Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Although sometimes it's kind of a mixture, isn't it? I think there's one where there's a horn section where it's half written by us.
That was our own little.
Yeah, and then there's the end of it is Ed wrote.
Yeah, it's
for it.
And the one that I hear a sound, is it? We had our own little ba.
Yeah.
Ba ba da ba. We had that already. Remember that one you had as well? There was another one I can't remember now, but.
On This Game of Love, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I was just thinking, so we move it on then. So we've now started writing songs together. how did we end up doing this? So
Well,
from this is where Michelle comes in.
Yeah. Well, I think
What were we called?
Well, with the Facebook side of it,
Yeah.
it was probably. Let's go back to Michelle, because
We didn't have a name.
We'd written quite a few songs now, hadn't we, in
Yeah.
the kitchen, and we wanted to sort of get them out there. And I was coming home, wasn't I, and trying to put them onto Facebook, because I was doing live shows in the cab, wasn't I, at night.
Yeah.
And that really triggered off the Facebook side of it, didn't it? And then you said to me, we've got to really get these out now. You know, we've got to start putting songs on Facebook so these people can see them, and then they can start connecting. Then Michelle, I can't even remember where we.
I think I think it might have been a friend who suggested that we
get on the radio.
because Michelle plays lots of local artists.
Yeah.
And I think that was where the connection with Michelle came. And so I sent her an email, and she invited us in. I think like on that Monday, and then I remember speaking to you saying we haven't got a name.
Yeah, what we driving?
She's
there?
asking what we
driving there.
No, it was before then, because I did a bit of research on it. So we didn't have a name. So
this is like quite.
So I then you can go online now and find, because the thing is that if you want now to be a recording artist, then after you come up with your name to be a recording artist, you need to get a website. So the problem with that is that nearly every website domain has been taken. So this is why bands often have really like two words that don't go together.
Yeah.
So that you can find a domain for it. And so I was going through all these different names and saying them to you, and we realised that every single name we came up with was just far too pretentious for who we were.
So was.
A couple of dads who were writing songs together in the living room cannot have this mysterious. It's just not us at all. But at the time, obviously this was very much viewed, and I'm sure still is by our wives, as a massive midlife crisis unfolding before them. And so they used to take the mickey out of us, and they used to call us, instead of the hypochondriacs, they used to call us the Condriacs for short. And so obviously I didn't want to call us that as a Mickey take name, but in the end, as this radio interview was steaming towards us and we were being chased for a name, I kind of said to you, we're going
to have to record it. I remember you saying it to me.
We can always change it afterwards.
Yeah, I remember you saying it.
Yeah.
And then we went, and then for us
it's like with all names, it just becomes the sound. It doesn't become the meaning. So just in case you hadn't realised, the Condriacs is short for hypochondriacs.
Yeah, and then from there, really, we went there. We was nervous. Me and Pete was nervous.
Oh goodness, yeah.
And we even made a couple of mistakes on their live, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we hadn't even sort of rehearsed these things. We just went there like we know the song, didn't we?
Yeah, we've written it. How can it be to play the song we've written?
But so we've gone there and made a few mistakes. But after that, it was then full on for us to sort of get our songs out to social media, because social media was getting big. Well, it was big at the time, wasn't it? Facebook was crazy at that time, wasn't it?
It was really going fast, yeah.
So then Pete started to send stuff out. Pete started to understand Facebook, started to get to know it properly. I started to do live feeds on there at night, which when it was easy and I could play our own stuff through the radio without being told not to. But so we started to do that and gathered a few fans.
Yeah, not many, but a few.
A few fans across the pond, didn't we, at the time? But I remember me and Pete going, we've only got 200 fans. How are we going to get to 1,000? Because it was 1,000 that we had to get before we could do something on Facebook.
There was certain things, and also it's just like they say that if you're growing a fan base online, the first 1,000 are the hardest. Because you get no shares.
No, that's true. Yeah. And then it was all like we didn't know which way. Like we was going, do we have to share? Because we were two dads, and we were quite. Well, I am, and I'm still like a dinosaur when it comes to social media, but. It was hard what to do, wasn't it? What to say.
Are they ducks?
Yeah. No, they're crows, aren't they?
Are they? Oh yeah, I can hear that now.
I'm a crows flying,
to start with. Yeah,
they're all laughing at us. But so then I started to do these live feeds and started to gather a few little fans, but it wasn't enough.
And it wasn't enough. You sound so greedy.
No,
it just wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't, because we wanted to build our little empire. We wanted to build into it.
Why did we want to do this?
I don't know. I just feel like
we had this kind of, I guess you would say, a pipe dream at the time, which you wouldn't say to anybody else, that we would love to do it for a living.
Yeah, we sort of kept it between us.
Yeah, because when you're in your 40s, late 40s, and you're saying, I'm now going to become a full-time songwriter.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine what your friends would say if you told them that.
Yeah.
Good at what?
They just laughed their heads off.
So we kind of kept that to ourselves. But you know, whereas we certainly aren't full time. We both work full time outside of our music. I think it doesn't feel quite the pipe dream that it used to.
No,
and
it's
the fact that
actually,
we're
yeah,
even sitting here recording this because people ask us
but
how we
it's-
started, and so we're recording a video to tell them.
You know, I feel like it for me and you. It's been something we can focus on. You know, it gives you a little
Great for your mental health.
gives you a little pathway through life as well.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff that people are now enjoying, and I mean, me and Pete, I'm sure everybody who follows us, we have helped so many people through some dark times. You know,
I'd like to stress
Go on.
inadvertently. We weren't thinking,
No,
oh, I
I'm
know,
thinking it.
we'll bless ourselves onto other people
Yeah,
and help
no.
them. But we didn't know that what we were doing was going to
Yeah.
help people, but it really seemed to.
Yeah, and I'm so pleased because we have built up a big family of friends and fans, haven't we? And it's just.
And I love the fact that I was talking to Jackie yesterday from
Wyoming,
from America. I mean, she's been following us right from the very beginning. The fact that you know, some of our patrons we speak to on the phone on a fairly regular basis.
I mean, I call them, don't I? Just FaceTime them out of the blue. Excuse the pun.
Hey.
Yeah, no, but I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it is fantastic, and I think we have built an unbelievable fan base together.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been a brilliant journey. You know?
We love it, and we're now working on another album.
And I really hope it continues forever. I really do.
Yeah. So that's us.
Yeah, and that's how we met.
That doesn't bore you too much.
Yeah, but it's been good, hasn't it, Pete?
Yeah.
It's just stress at the minute. Since the pandemic, we started to do little shows in the field behind Pete's house, and that was fantastic
for our patrons.
For our patrons, because we have patrons that follow us and help us, you know, through our.
So we kind of have like members only content.
Yeah. So we can sort of do stuff for them, and
it helps us to do what we do.
We usually send them, which we haven't done for, which we've got to catch up on, but we usually send them a song free every month, don't we?
Yeah. Which doesn't get released.
Doesn't get released anywhere, so it's just for them. Which I feel like we should put all them, or split them in half, maybe put them on 2 CDs for them or something like that, or do something. We'll have to try something anyway. But yeah, so we've been through the pandemic. We helped a lot of people out through the pandemic, really, because they were at home and they couldn't get out, and we was bringing a bit of entertainment to them. And it was really funny because all the big stars, we've been doing it for a long time, haven't we?
And then you see Chris Martin from Coldplay,
all started
doing a live from his living room. You think, I think we might have already been doing that.
Yeah,
and actually, the music industry has always tried to present artists as this kind of mysterious, unapproachable people. And what the pandemic did was made people have to be sitting in their living room at their piano with stuff in the background, and you know, and so that was already how we were. I mean, when we used to do the patron shows, we used to do them at the back. When we first started before I had the cabin, we used to do them at the back of the taxi at about 2 o'clock in the morning, in a car park somewhere. And I remember we're sitting there playing to we had about 15 patrons at the time, most of them in America, hence the 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we're playing, we're in this car park, surrounded by like lorries parked up, and then in the background you can hear this couple having this screaming argument, probably drunk, next to our cab while we're broadcasting live to America.
It's just like,
excuse me, mate, can you keep it down? I'm broadcasting live to America.
And for me, it was like amazing because like we're talking to these people in like Mississippi and like Texas, all out in these Ohio, isn't it? In now Canada and.
I know. There's Australia, Italy,
we've just
France.
been everywhere. Our music's being played, and for me and Pete, that is the ultimate.
Well, it's unbelievable, really, isn't it?
It's like we've got songs that people are listening to and enjoying.
Yeah. So that's us.
That's us. That is the one.
Thank you.